My child, come closer. Sit by the fire and listen well, for this is a tale older than the oldest tree, a story whispered by the wind and carried by the stars. It is the story of the boy who stole fire from the sun. Long ago, before the world knew warmth, before flames danced in the hearts of men, the earth was cold. The night stretched long and dark, and the people shivered, huddled together like frightened birds. The sun, high and mighty in the sky, kept its fire to itself, unwilling to share even a single spark. In a small village, deep in the heart of the land, lived a boy named Kwame. He was not the strongest, nor the tallest, but his heart burned with something greater than strength. He burned with will. Kwame watched as his people suffered, as mothers wrapped their babies in tattered cloth, as the elders sat with stiff, aching bones. He watched, and he decided. If the sun will not give us fire, he whispered one night, then I will take it myself. And so, before the first light of dawn, Kwame set out on his journey. He carried nothing but a hollowed-out gourd and the courage of a lion. The wind howled in his ears, as if warning him to turn back, but Kwame pressed on. First, he crossed the great desert, where the sun burned his feet by day and froze them by night. The desert spirits whispered, their voices like dry leaves scraping against the sky. Turn back, little one. The fire of the sun is not for men. But Kwame did not turn back. He pushed through the thick jungle, where the trees stood like silent watchers, their branches twisting like outstretched arms. The shadows shifted, and unseen eyes glowed from the darkness. The spirits of the wild stirred, murmuring in voices like rustling leaves. Go back, child. The fire of the sun is forbidden. But Kwame did not go back. He climbed the tallest mountain, where the air was thin, and the stars seemed close enough to touch. Each step felt heavier, as if unseen hands pulled him down. A storm raged above, and the voice of the wind howled in warning. The fire is guarded, boy. You will not return. Kwame would not stop. At last, he reached the edge of the world, the place where the sky kissed the earth, where the great sun lay to rest before rising again. And there, coiled around the blazing ember, lay the fire serpent. Its scales shimmered like molten gold, its breath was a gust of burning wind. It lifted its great head and looked down at the boy with eyes as bright as burning coals. Who dares come to the land of the gods? The serpent hissed, its voice rolling like distant thunder. I am Kwame, the boy said, standing firm. I have come for fire. The serpent laughed, a deep, rumbling sound that shook the very ground beneath Kwame's feet. Fire is not for men, it said. But if you wish to claim it, then you must prove yourself. Kwame nodded, his heart steady. The serpent flicked its tongue and unleashed the first trial, a river of flames, twisting and raging, blocking Kwame's path. The fire roared, hungry and wild, reaching for him with scorching fingers. But Kwame was swift. He moved as the panther moves, leaping from stone to stone, dodging, weaving, dancing through the inferno. The flames could not catch him. The serpent narrowed its eyes. You are quick, boy, but let us see if you are wise. Answer me this, what is more powerful than fire, yet weaker than the wind? It can shape mountains, yet a child can hold it in his hand. Kwame closed his eyes and thought. He thought of the mountains he had climbed, the wind that had tried to stop him, the journey that had led him here. And then, he smiled. It is time, he said. Time can wear down the strongest stone, yet it slips like sand through our fingers. The serpent hissed, impressed but unwilling to yield. One last test remains, it said. If you can take the fire without being burned, it is yours to keep. Kwame stepped forward and saw the fire, a golden ember, glowing bright in the serpent's open jaws. He knew that if he reached for it, he would be turned to ash. But Kwame was clever. He called to the raven, the cleverest of all birds, who had followed him on his journey. "Take the ember," he whispered. The raven, swift and cunning, swooped down, snatched the ember in its beak, and dropped it into Kwame's gourd. The serpent roared, fire spilling from its mouth, but Kwame had already turned and run, racing down the mountain, through the jungle, across the desert, faster than he had ever run before. Behind him, the fire serpent rose into the sky, chasing him like a streak of lightning, its anger shaking the heavens. Kwame's heart pounded, but he did not stop, not even when the air burned around him, not even when the ground trembled beneath his feet. At last, he reached his village, breathless, trembling, but victorious. The people gathered, their eyes wide with wonder. Kwame lifted the gourd, and from it, the first flames danced into the air. The people gasped, then cheered, their voices rising like a great song. For the first time, there was warmth. For the first time, there was light. That night, they cooked food over the flames, and the cold that had ruled their lives for so long faded into memory. And as for Kwame, his name was never forgotten. The wind carried his story, the fire whispered it to those who would listen, and the stars watched over the boy who stole fire from the sun. So, my child, remember this: fire is a gift, but it is not to be taken lightly. It can warm, but it can also burn. Use it wisely, for just as it gives life, it can take it away. Now go, and keep the fire of wisdom burning in your heart.